Looks like he hasn't got the bottle. Let's begin. Well, it appears that Sadiq Khan may have had a change of heart when it comes to those hefty Ulez fines. Now, of course, who would have guessed that hitting drivers with £180 penalties for not paying the £12.50 daily Ulez fee might not be the most politically savvy move. It's as if they suddenly realised they're about to serve up a platter of bad press. Thousands of drivers are apparently now receiving letters with ominous headings such as ultra low emission zone, contravention warning notice. But of course, here's the twist. Transport for London, the TfL, has opted for a phased approach to enforcing the London-wide ultra low emission zone. It's almost as if they're playing hide and seek with the fines, isn't it? We'll catch you next time, perhaps. And naturally, of course, the TfL isn't actually providing any concrete figures or end dates for this leniency. It's a bit like when your friend promises to repay you but conveniently forgets the exact amount or due date. Oh, I'll reimburse you eventually, probably. But hey, of course, it's not labelled this as some sort of amnesty. No. It's just some sort of elbow with a hint of, we won't fine you for now. Similar to, of course, I'm guessing when your boss says something like, consider this as a gentle reminder to improve or brace for the consequences. Which may or may not have happened to me. But anyway, now London Mayor Sadiq Khan introduced the Ulez as expected to generate approximately £200 million annually. That's a hefty sum, isn't it? It's almost like a money tree magically sprouted up in London overnight. Here's £200 million for the public transport network. I guess Sadiq Khan must have wished that he had that a long time ago. Who knows, maybe at a time when, if I remember rightly, he had to ask the government for some money when he wasn't actually doing too well, it seems. But then, of course, I could be wrong. But anyway, the article says that thousands of drivers who have failed to pay the new Greater London Ulez have been sent warning letters rather than £180 fines. It can be revealed. Transport for London has confirmed that many motorists have escaped an immediate penalty as it pursues a phased approach to enforcing the London-wide ultra-low emission zone. Letters headed with ultra-low emission zone contravention warning notice have begun arriving at the homes or workplaces of drivers who have failed to pay the £12.50 daily levy this week. And sources told The Standard that the policy would be applied on a case-by-case basis. Well, isn't that nice and even for everyone, eh? Depending on the history of each driver's journeys in and out and around the capital. And of course, TfL declined to give a precise figure for the number of warning letters it had issued to date, nor to reveal the end date for the policy, but based on a similar approach used when the Ulez launched in central London in April 2019 and expanded to the inner boundaries and north and south circular roads in October 21. It is likely to be in place for around the first fortnight. Sources therefore insist there is no blanket amnesty in place, despite the expansion having sparked vocal opposition from some quarters and, of course, widespread vandalism or theft of more than 500 of the enforcement cameras. Oh dear, what a shame, eh? The zone introduced by Mayor of London Sadiq Khan in a bid to reduce the toxic vehicle emissions went London-wide, of course, as we all know, on August 29th. And many drivers have said to have already paid to enter or travel within Greater London. And the TfL spokesperson said, in precisely the same way that has been used during previous rollouts, we have used our discretion during this early stages of the expansion. And owners of non-compliant vehicles that have now been seen driving in the zone have now started to receive enforcement letters reminding them that the zone has now been enlarged and that they need to pay the charge in future if the vehicles continue to be used within the zone. And we are using the opportunity to remind drivers of the extensive support available, such as scrappage grants, and to point people to our autopay system, which of course I'm guessing they just love to do, which apparently is the easiest way they are not caught out unnecessarily. The expanded zone is expected to generate £200 million a year in levies and fines for TfL in its first 2 years, and cash that will be reinvested in London's public transport network. Now, I'm sure many of you have heard of Onto, the electric car subscription firm that apparently was once seen as the future of driving a car. Well, it has gone from market leader to, wait for it, prematurely unplugged faster than you can say fully charged. So here we have Onto boasting a fleet of over 7,000 electric cars. And no doubt, of course, they leased cars from big name brands like Fiat, Peugeot, Vauxhall, probably of course hoping that the brand name will sprinkle some extra electricity into their business. Well, I'm sorry, but the CEO Rob Jolly once proudly declared that Onto was the market leader in electric car subscriptions. Well, Rob, it seems the market had other plans. You know, it's bad, don't you, when your confidence rivals that of a used car salesman claiming, like new status, for a car with, I don't know, more dents than a golf ball, I'm guessing. Despite receiving cash injections as recently as 3 months ago, Onto's financial engine spluttered and died. Legal and general major backers abandoned the ship faster than you can say. Range anxiety! It's as if they pulled the plug on a deflating balloon and then watched Onto deflate into insolvency. And just what are the reasons for this electrical implosion? Well, it is to do with the vehicle's residual value in the first half of 2023, which basically certainly didn't help, as I'm guessing it dropped faster than a lead balloon. It's like buying a smartphone, only to find out it's worth less than a flip phone in 3 months' time. But of course, that's not all, because rising interest rates and the squeeze on disposable income dance their part in this financial tango. It's like they're trying to power your electric car with a lemon instead of a high-speed charger, isn't it? But apparently, Onto will continue to serve their 20,000 strong customer base while exploring strategic options. Well, perhaps their strategy involves installing wind turbines on the roofs of electric cars to generate some extra cash. I mean, who knows? And what's next for Onto? Well, it's likely to be stripped of its assets and sold off or something like that to pay off their debts. It's like electric car repossession, but instead of a tow truck, I mean, who knows? They could probably even send in a swarm of eco-friendly e-scooters. But anyway, the article says that an EV leasing firm with a fleet of over 7,000 cars has collapsed after failing to find a buyer. Onto, which apparently leased cars from big-name brands like Fiat, Peugeot and Vauxhall, was forced into administration today after racking up millions in debt. Based in the UK, they offer a wide range, apparently, of electric cars to subscribers to lease on agreements, which they can change monthly if they so choose. CEO Rob Jolly described the company as a market leader in electric car subscriptions last month. He added that he was confident that our proposition can continue to play a key role in the UK's net zero transition. The firm had received new cash injections as recently as 3 months ago, but was unable to stay afloat. Major backers, Legal and General, pulled out earlier in the summer, triggering a sales process as the company bosses struggled to balance the books, Sky News reports. And despite total funding of more than £270 million since its launch in 2018, the company was forced to call in the administrators earlier today. Gavin Murher, who pronounced that right, who is one of the administrators, said that many of the issues were caused by the steep fall in EV residual value in the first half of 2023, and EV prices have been plunging in recent months, particularly on the resale market, as the cost of living drives customers away and evolving tech makes older vehicles obsolete. Mr. Mayer also cited rising interest rates and a squeeze on disposable income as key factors in the collapse of the company, and he confirmed that Onto will continue to serve as 20,000 strong subscriber base while exploring strategic options. It's likely to be stripped of all assets, which are then going to be sold off to pay its debts, and potential bidders are expected to be contacted in the coming days. And it comes as the Sun Online revealed that the nation's EV charging fiasco, with long queues and service stations and sky-high prices. Well, I'm sure for many it's about time, because England is finally saying farewell to disposable vapes. You know, those little things which are dressed up in bright colours and bubblegum flavours, which I'm guessing probably are trying to tempt our kids to try them. These things have been acting like some sort of gateway drug into the smoking world, seducing our innocent children with their sweet-coated allure, haven't they? I mean, these single-use devices are like the Willy Wonka golden ticket of the smoking world, only instead of a chocolate factory, they lead straight into a lifetime of lung problems, I'm guessing. But for adults who obviously have the right to smoke these things if they want to, it's a major kick in the balls, isn't it? And I don't think this will help matters as much as they are thinking, because let's face it, I'm sure children could probably get their hands on refillable vapes if they so wanted to. So I think, if anything, what would have been better is if they hid them away like they currently do with cigarettes, and ID'd anyone who looks under 30 for buying them. But of course, now the government has decided to unveil this groundbreaking decision in the Health Department consultation. And health bosses are rightly alarmed, because 11.6% of 11 to 17-year-olds have fallen victim to vaping. It's like some sort of nicotine epidemic, isn't it? And the vaping companies are the sweet sellers on the street, isn't it? But of course, I'm guessing they won't exactly go the Australian route and ban vaping entirely, because they believe apparently that e-cigarettes help smokers quit, which may be true, but they are also more than likely a gateway for young people into smoking in the first place. Even the young electors, as I like to call him, Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, is chiming in, saying that these vapes look like they're designed for kids. So finally, it could be like they're catching these vape companies red-handed, trying to lure the next generation of smokers. I don't want my kids seduced by any of these things, he says. And I can't say I blame him, because I wouldn't be too happy if my son done it either. And of course, let's not forget the Chief Medical Officer, Chris Whitty, who we obviously heard quite a lot from a few years ago, didn't we? He's apparently had quite enough of this nonsense and says that if you smoke, vaping is much safer, and if you don't smoke, Don't vape. But anyway, the article says that disposable vapes will be banned in England to stop children getting addicted, under government plans to be unveiled as early as next week. Single-use devices sold in bright colours and bubblegum sweet flavours are seen as encouraging kids to smoke. The decision will be revealed in a health department consultation, penciled in for next week, the Telegraph said. And health bosses say that 11.6% of 11 to 17-year-olds have vaped, up from 7.7% last year. Ministers don't plan to copy Australia though by banning vaping, as they feel that e-cigarettes help smokers quit. And of course, Rishi Sunak said in May on ITV's This Morning, "I have 2 young girls. I'm also worried about that. It looks like they are targeting their kids, which is ridiculous. I don't want my kids to be seduced by any of these things." And Professor Chris Whitty, England's chief medical officer, said previously, if you smoke, vaping is much safer, and if you don't smoke, don't vape. And marketing to children is utterly unacceptable. Disposable vapes has also damaged the environment, as 5 million are thrown away every week, campaigners claim, up from 1.3 million of last year. Devolved administration outside England would have to set policy for Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland. And of course, in this video, it looks like smokers ain't exactly going to like what the government plans to do with them either.